Good morning and welcome. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you people out there. Hi, I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and here we are to fight CPS and hang on to your children. Um, I really know it's very difficult what you're going through. You're all involved with something called CPS, and I call it the Child Protection System. It's a government entity that's supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse. But apparently, there are many entities or child protection systems that have gone rogue. What I mean by that is they've overstepped their bounds. They're no longer doing family reunification, they're breaking families apart. Their goal is to get the children adopted into foster care because they get extra money from the government. Now, the child protection system in every state and every county was mandated by Congress to protect our children from neglect and abuse. Further, it's a part of social services, and they're supposed to provide you food and shelter and clothing and transportation and education and medical and even a job. And if it's necessary because there is domestic violence, the child's in danger, they will remove the child, but they're supposed to do what's called family reunification, where they put the family back together because the studies have shown the best parents are the biological parents. Children are connected very much with their moms and dads. They're born into this world very innocently. And we as parents are supposed to have all the knowledge and all the skills to take care of children, raise children. But unfortunately, we're not born with a book or born with all the skills. We learn it from our family, our friends, or mother or father, or whatever. And we try to do our best. But sometimes we may screw up or two, but that doesn't mean you're an awful parent. That means you can get additional help to get back on track. Furthermore, I'm sad to say that over the last 16 months, including my case, these rogue CPS entities are in there for just for the money. It's $1 trillion business, not billion, not million, $1 trillion business. It's very difficult to deal with CPS or fight them. I compare fighting CPS like open heart surgery. I don't think any of you would sit there and cut open your chest cavity, take your heart out and try to fix it. You're going to get a professional to do that. Same goes with CPS. Now, I know CPS has many different names. I just use the Child Protection System. That's what means CPS to me. Now, you found me on Facebook, Fighting CPS Bob Pace. And you've come to my room, and there are 7 rooms that are Facebook rooms, and then one room that is the YouTube room that I transmit on. I use the StreamYard application to do this podcast. Now, there are 4 ways that you can interact with this podcast. One of the ways is right here. Just take notes and listen to what I may have to say and share with you what I did that was wrong, and hopefully you don't do the same mistakes. I really care about you. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a father, a loving husband. I've raised 6 children. I have 41 years of marriage and a lot of life skills. So I want to help you. I care about you. Now, one thing is that when you want to talk to me and ask me a question, which I hope you all do, you can text in your question or comment about CPS to me. Please include your first name and the city or county that your case is in and the state. Now, if you're from another country, that's fine too. I'd love to have you. I have 21 countries that have participated, some of them very regularly. In Canada and South Africa, I have some regular people that have called in and talked. And also from Liberia in Africa, I have a gentleman that calls in all the time too. But I'm here to help you all. Whether you're in Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, Saudi Arabia, Libya, and then over to South Africa, Liberia, Sudan, Rwanda, Mozambique, and then the 4 provinces in South Africa, up to Europe, to England, Scotland, Wales, and Denmark, Sweden. All these countries have called in, text in a message to get help. Then across the pond to North America, Canada, it's 4 provinces. And then all 50 states, the U.S., people have represented and told me how bad that their county was, how bad their county was. So there's been over 900 people I've talked to. There's 900 people I've talked to. So there's over 900 counties that are bad. Now, I know there's thousands and thousands of counties. Not all CPS is bad. Then south of the border, I've had Mexico, and then Grenada in South America. Then across the Pacific, I've had New Zealand and Australia, the land down under, with 2 states there in Australia. So I've had quite a group of people. As I said, over 900 people. Also try to include what your case was about, so I understand. Try to start from the beginning to where you are at the present and what needs to be done or what needs to be helped. Okay, so please text me a message. I want to help you all. I want to help you all. Now, third way is you want to be a guest on my podcast. Now, I've had guests. The other night, I had Brian and Lauren from Ohio. They were one of my guests, and it was a hard thing for them to do because their termination of parental rights is over, and they've lost 2 of their boys, which was hard on them. One boy was with special needs. So I don't want to hear you guys losing children. I want you to get back your children. That's why I got ideas. Now, to be a guest, all you do is email Grace, who's my show producer, at grace@vincentwdavis.com. Grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she will put you on my show as a guest. She'll give you a link and she'll tell you what to do and what to say and what not to do on my podcast. On my podcast. Lastly, the 4th thing you can do is to call in to my number at 626-698-6990. And I used Vonage, which is a internet application that we used our phone things on there. So it's just double checking to make sure Vonage is loaded. And yes, it's all set to go. It's all set to go. We have a call. I think Betty Joe tried to call. Let me see.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Yeah. Hi, Betty. I just saw you call in. I am live now. This is Bob Pace on my podcast here, and appreciate a call back. Thank you. Okay. Well, at least to know my phone's working. That's one way to check it out there and so forth. Now, oh, there you are, Betty. I just tried to call you. You had called me, so I was returning your call. Um, okay. Um, Somehow your message came up. Maybe I have you confused with somebody else. A message came up. I have your name, supposedly. I hope I have the right number. Anyway, I'm so glad that things are going good with your niece. For those you don't know, Betty Jo's from Montana. She's a foster mom and she takes care of children. Anyway, she for many months was trying to get her niece out of a very bad situation in Nebraska. Her brother and his girlfriend had gone down there, but they had troubles. And the mother's no longer interested in the child, and the brother cannot take care of the child. He has a problem getting a job, hanging on to a job, and drug issues. He's back in Montana, but right now, until he gets his act cleaned up, he can't see his daughter. So Betty has stepped in and gotten formal guardianship of her daughter. She's actually adopted his niece. And so she's very quite happy, taken care of. She's a remarkable woman. And thank you, Betty, for sharing that with us. Okay, we have somebody here, a Facebook person, Sarah Martinez. You're trying to call in. Sarah, the number is good. You can call in. Make sure you dial 1. Make sure you dial 1. But then I just checked my phone and it's working. So you should be able to call in. Sarah, what part of the country are you from? And what is about your case? How can I help you? Now, you can either be on my show as a guest, I can take up 9 of you, or you could call in. When you call in or on my show as a guest, you qualify for a free 15-minute session with Mr. Davis, and he will help you. He will help you. He will talk to you for 15 minutes and tell his strategies and hear about your case. All you have to do is be a guest on my podcast or call in. It's a Zoom private conference call with Mr. Davis. Now, all of you are experiencing probably a bad CPS. A lot of you may be difficulty with income, and that's one of the hardest things to do because my rule number 1 talks about you have to get an attorney. It's the most important tool to help get your kids back because you're doing in a court of law that's very complex and very difficult. Just like open heart surgery, you need to have an expert. That's why you need to look at the idea of hiring an attorney. And it's hard to hire an attorney because it costs money. You know, there are pro bono attorneys, but they're not guaranteed that they'll really qualify or work for you. Yes, they may be free, but you have to be careful. Also, there's court appointed attorneys. You got to be careful of those individuals because they work for social service, they work for CPS, and they will not fight for your case. They usually have 30 or more clients. Their only background is criminal law. They don't have the experience of juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. That's what it takes, is that expertise. Okay. Um, Sarah, um, okay, I will call you. I will call you. Thank you, Sarah. I have no idea why it's being blocked. And people have called me and I know it works. So, okay, here we go. Yeah, hi, Sarah. This is Bob with the podcast live. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Bob. Yes, I can. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm sorry you aren't able to call in. That confuses me because um, other people have called in. So I don't know
Oh, I'm
why
sorry.
you have. Well, no, because I've had two people yesterday have the same problem, and so how can I help you?
Well, I wanted to discuss with you. I had spoke to you last year before I had court back in March of 2024
Okay.
regarding El Paso, Texas, the caseworkers, my children, that they removed them to Loretto, Texas, and my daughters and my stepson. Well, I got them back when I went to court.
Oh, well, that was good news. Now, help me out with your logistics here. You're from what? Where are you from,
El
Sarah?
Paso, Texas.
You're from El Paso, Texas, and where are your
Yes.
children taken to?
My two daughters were taken to Loretto, Texas.
Okay, and why did they have to
And
go
then,
to Laredo, Texas? Is that because they're with a family member or with a
no,
foster
they
care?
they removed them and put them into a foster home.
Oh, okay. So they removed them, and why did they remove them? What was the allegations?
The allegation was physical abuse. They were claiming physical abuse to the children, but the judge said actually determined that they were wrongfully removed, and the caseworkers did everything illegally, not per the book. Everything was done improperly. I went to court. It was a 7-hour court in front of police, caseworkers, county attorney, and everything they did in the case was everything was just not right. From
Okay.
the moment that basically, Mr. Pierce was they talked to the kids without consent. After after I told them they couldn't talk to them, they tried to claim that the kids were in danger. They filed a petition on the 16th of February. They didn't look for the kids until February 21st, supposedly because they couldn't find them.
Okay.
But there was no police search. There was nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never offered me services. The caseworkers never got back to me to tell me this is what you need to get your kids back. This is what needs to be done. They were just saying we're taking them, moving them, and send them off. The caseworkers to supervisors never had communication with me or my husband. My husband, they terminated his rights without even letting him know. They went to court without even telling him and gave custody to a family member. I mean, everything was just, I don't know what the Paso caseworkers think they were doing, or I don't know what they thought they did, but I mean, it was.
Did you guys have a professional attorney you hired, or how did you fight this case?
Actually, how I beat it was I went to school for paralegal. I was the one that studied the. I told my attorney, because my attorney was just like, you're not going to get them back. It's not possible. Really hard to get them back. So I ended up asking for my file. I got my file. I studied my case. I studied the law, the Texas law, and then the CPS handbook. And any little discussion sheet that I found in there, I let my attorney know, well, this is what you're going to ask, and this is what you're going for, and this is what wasn't followed through, and this wasn't done right. And when we went to court, I straight up, any question I had asked, I made her ask. I told her I was going to file a complaint against her, but she also said I wasn't going to get my kids back.
Well, I'm glad you did what you did. Now, when you talked to me back in March, did anything I say help you, or was there anything?
Actually, yes, it did. Actually, the 388 petition that you told me, and how would you advise me after I hung up with you? And actually, you're talking to you was what motivated me to actually look at any discussion fee and made me get full force, because I had 1 week till court, because it was either I get my kids back or I wasn't going to get them back at all. And it was thanks to you that, you told me about the 388, because I even told my attorney, she just acted like she didn't even know what I was talking about. And I was like, you have to know, And
wow,
that's what actually your guidance is what helped me out. Because if not, I would not probably have my girls right now, and I wouldn't see them right now. And they came back on April 4th. They came back to me. And no services, the judge closed out everything.
Wow. I'm so glad. I try to share my experiences and what I've learned these last 15 years from fighting CPS. And I'm glad that I'm able to pass on something that would work or something that does help. And it is a very difficult entity to deal with. There's no question about that. And a lot of them have gone bad. A lot of them have gone
Yes.
rogue. Not everybody in CPS is bad, but they've gone rogue. And it really, it sounds like you did your homework. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed.
Yes. I had a lot of people comment after I hang up with you. Believe it or not, they even got upset because they brought up the show in court that I went live on YouTube. They were trying to say that I tried to blast them and everything. They did a hashtag. My girl's friends did a hashtag where it got more than 1,000 views on the internet and social media. I promoted it out there. I was putting it out there. I understand there's some of us that do need help and guidance. When we're doing wrong, I do admit that.
Yes.
But when you just take kids like that and you don't care and not even trying to even offer services and no. These were my kids, and I was in a fight mode of getting them back because I knew I was done injustice. I know what I have. I know what my kids, even the case that was pending against me for injury to a child, remember about my stepson?
Yes.
They also got dropped because I lied about it. And they still were trying to go for that.
Yes.
And I'm not going to lie. I wanted to kill myself. I could not see my day without my daughters.
I know how, I remember how concerned you were. I know it's been almost a year since you and I have talked, but I'm so glad. What made you decide to call me today?
I wanted to get out back at you and tell you thank you. I want parents to know that there is hope. Know your rights. Get on it. Ask for your files. Ask for anything. Don't be intimidated by CPS because a lot of people told me I was one of the lucky ones to get my kids back because not everybody does. And you know what? I've seen that story, and I don't wish any parent to go through this. I don't wish any parent to feel like just because CPS comes, that's the end of it. You have rights. You have the right to defend yourself, especially the relationship between a parent and a child. No one should come between it unless, honestly, they're in danger. But other than that, our kids are our life. And if it wasn't because of your motivation and talking to you, I probably I wouldn't be here right now, and my girls wouldn't be with me.
Oh, God bless you. You're awful.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, you are a very warm, loving mother, and I'm so glad that your children. How old are they now?
They're 17, 15, 14, and 13.
Wow. They're teenagers. Oh, wow.
Yes. And even at that, my husband, the caseworkers, my husband didn't even know they had terminated his rights, doing everything by email. And if it wasn't also because I called in the court to find out what was going on with his case, we only had 1 day to file that 388 petition. I called his attorney and I literally threatened him. I go, if you don't file this, I am reporting you to the Bar Association, and I'm going to make sure you lose your license. And then within that 1 day, he filed the 388 petition. And the judge realized that my husband didn't even know that his rights were terminated. He didn't even know that there was already a custody order giving his family member full custody of the children. He didn't even know any of that. And the attorney realized his wrongdoing. I reported him to the Bar Association. They did a full investigation on him, that he actually, did everything illegally. Like, I'm taking away my husband's rights without even his consent and him acknowledging it also. And he got his voice back also 2 weeks after I did.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
But thank you for real. What you're doing, and let people know I appreciate it. You're doing a wonderful thing.
Oh, well, I'm glad I'm able to help because it was traumatic for me when I went through CPS because there was nothing wrong that we did with our children, but it was some false accusations by a family member that kept repeatedly calling in. That's the trouble with laymen or lay people. I don't want to call laymen, but they're women too. But lay people, the lay people are your family, friends, relatives, such. And when they call in, a lot of times they're calling in to alienate you from your child or to get back at you. For instance, there could be a barking dog in the yard next to you and you don't like that neighbor, so you make a false accusation. And then away, CPS will come out and the person may not even have a child. That's how stupid that people can be. Or it could be a husband and wife that want to get it back at each other and they want to alienate the child. Alienation is illegal. Trafficking children is illegal. But somehow CPS makes it legal. I don't know how they do it. So
You know what? What's funny, when I was doing my research, I found out that under it's HB, I think 86, that the parent has a fundamental right to the child. That's above the law. That's above the relationship between the parent and child. There's no what do you say? It's a bond that you can't break unless there's immediate danger. I learned that not even the law is above that relationship between a parent and child, because that's a bond that shouldn't be broken. And these CPS workers are always violating all these parents. But what I also learned is that when they get a child in the system, like you say, they do get a commission. The caseworker, the attorney, the judge, they all work together because they all get something out of it at the end of the day.
It's all about money. It's about money, and
yes,
that's the sad thing. Right now, we have a new president who's trying to shake up government because we are spending needlessly. Money is being stolen, and it's the money that we pay with our hard jobs that goes to government. We pay taxes. That money is supposed to be used wisely by the government, but right now it's not. And CPS is one of the baddest perpetrators. That it's $1 trillion business for them, trillions of dollars. And
the kids that need help, they're not helping them.
No,
the kids
they
that
don't.
Actually are being abused and getting killed. They don't even. And the kids that don't need it, they're spending money, thousands of dollars on them, and it's ridiculous. The plane tickets just for my girls and everything. My daughters were telling me they spent clothes on them. They bought them shoes, and this is expensive stuff they bought my daughters. Bribing them, trying to get stuff out of them.
Oh, they've even bought phones. They've even bought cell phones. I didn't want my daughter, who was really young at the time, to have a cell phone. They got her a cell phone right away. And the problem is the cell phone hooks to the internet and they take you to the dark web. And a lot of people don't realize that a 12-year-old or earlier, even a 15-year-old, they can't get into things because that's where sexual trafficking is. That's where all the bad things in the world is. So.
And you know what's funny? The judge even told these caseworkers, she goes, so where did you send these two teenagers to? And they're like, Laredo, Texas. And the judge is like, well, why don't you go get them? Oh, it's dangerous for us. We can't go by ourselves. And the judge looks at the caseworker and tells her, so you're saying that you're a grown-ass adult. You don't want to go drive by yourself over there, but you sent two girls to the border town by themselves over there with no family members, no nothing, and you want, to what? So, I think their intentions were something else because, this was moved too fast. Like you had stated that day that we spoke back last year.
Yes,
that
yes.
One day the girls bought an airplane. And, they even bought my daughter's Jordans, perfumes. When my girls came back, they came back with some expensive stuff. Taking them to dinners, taking them to restaurants. They got them on first class coach, when they flew them. Like, it was ridiculous when my daughters were telling me how the caseworkers were just trying to get stuff out of them to build a case, just to get something out. But buying them off.
Yeah. I have a new person. Just don't go anywhere. Okay. I'm just going to say hello to Athena.
Okay.
Charbonnet. Good morning. I don't know where you're from, but welcome. And she says her oldest daughter no longer wants to be a girl. Well, this is not the show for that. I'm not trying to say I can't talk about that, but we got to talk about CPS. I don't know if CPS is involved in your case, but that is a hard thing to do when young teenagers have identity crisis, and that's something that you need to address. But I don't think that the child protection system deals with that unless there's some neglect or abuse to that child, neglect or abuse. You're from Alaska. Okay, you're the third person. Okay. I've had 3 people from Alaska recently. Not recently, but you're in family court. Why are you in family court? Is something that the guardian ad litem is just a volunteer person, and they should not be taken too seriously because they're ears for the child protection system. I'm glad you found me last night, Athena, and I do want to help you, but do you have a case with the child protection system in Alaska? Are you being charged with neglect or abuse of your children? That's what I can help you with. but the other issues is important. But that's one of the thing. If I had an open life skill show, I could talk about that and try to help you there. I could talk to you about that and try to help you. Anyway, we have Sarah Martinez, who's shared me the wonderful news that she got back her 4 children, and she had followed some advice that I said, got her attorney to work for her. Was that attorney a court-appointed attorney, or was that a paid attorney?
It was a court-appointed attorney.
Well, you did the right thing, because as I tell all of you listeners out there, that if you do accept a court-appointed attorney, make sure they fight for you. You tell them that if they don't work for you, charge them with negligence and report them to the bar, the state bar.
Yeah.
Also, they have a caseload of 30 more clients. That's why they don't like to help, because they don't have the time. Plus, they're only trained in criminal law, not in juvenile or family law or dependency law. Now,
you're absolutely right. Cause she wanted me to take a deal. She wanted me to settle for services, and I told her no, that I wasn't gonna do that. Like, I knew I didn't do nothing wrong. They weren't gonna intimidate me. They tried to scare me, and I was like, no. Like, your work. I just basically told her, you work for me, and if not, I can sue you. I'll take you back to court with civil, because you're not doing what's best interest for me. You're supposed to do what's best for me, not for what they want. I told my attorney, and her attitude changed after that. Right after that.
Yeah. Athena is so happy that you got your children back, and she was just saying really, really happy things there. Athena, if you've been charged of neglect and abuse, your first step should be is to get yourself an attorney. Now, attorney does cost money. There are 2 important questions you can shop around for an attorney. You need an attorney whose background is juvenile, family, dependency law. So when you call attorney, if you have a list of attorneys, ask them right off the bat, are you a juvenile, family law, or a dependency law attorney and have fought CPS and won cases? If the answer is yes, the second question is that when a case is closed, have you ever fought CPS in a civil suit, whether it's in state court or federal court, and won money? Now, if the answer is yes again, then you found the right place. You know that person's a fighter, because most attorneys don't want to sue CPS or fight CPS. So with those 2 answers to the question being yes, then you want to set up a meeting with them. You want to get 3 people that will talk to you. Now, you can talk to Mr. Davis. And in fact, if you call into my show, like Sarah is doing, or you are a guest on my show, you will get a free 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis, and you can talk about your case and so forth. He is a real attorney. He's trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law, and he has won cases, civil cases, millions of dollars from CPS, both in state and federal court. So he's the real deal. And so, Athena, you could call in or be a guest on my show, and you could talk to him, and maybe he could help you out there. Athena says, I want a full-time, hands-on homeschooling mom. Okay, you are a full-time. My ex-husband had an issue with me getting remarried, and 4 days after my husband and I had our son, my ex-husband filed a custody thing. Yeah, it's called retaliation. It's sad, but parents do that to one another, and it's really, really sad. It's really, really sad. I spent over $35,000 on attorneys, all of them supposedly great with DV, domestic violence, which was what I've been going through. I spoke up about 13 years of abuse and SA. I don't know what SA would stand for. SA. Okay. Where my ex-husband's still active military. Okay. You have a complex case there. You have what's called divorce. and you should be in family court, divorce court, and you need to get a divorce attorney. You need an attorney that knows how to deal with custody of children, also in divorce. Not only do you get a divorce attorney, make sure they know how to settle the custody of children. Because all divorces, if you have children, that's part of the custody arrangement. Do the children spend equal time with each parent, or does one parent take the time, the other parent has just visitation? It's very important that you get a divorce attorney. Now, you're up there in Alaska, and the easiest way to find a divorce attorney up there is to type in your name of your town or city. And I know you're north of Anchorage, so you should put comma Anchorage, Alaska, and then put in there divorce attorney, and you will find a list of divorce attorneys. Then you got to go through and talk to three of them and determine which one has the best chemistry, and you can afford the retainer. But that's what you need, Athena. You need some divorce attorney with a background in custody of children. And I'm so sorry that you're going through that, Athena. I want to try to help you as best I can. Now, Sarah,
Yes, sir.
now it's been a while. Has CPS bothered you at all, or are they talking to you at all?
Yes, they just a few weeks ago, my girls were acting out. They were actually with friends at Walmart, and I went over there and I yelled at my girls because I knew what they were going to do. I'm not kind of dumb, you know what I mean? It was a bunch of little teenagers, and this one of the mom's friends, because I let them stay over because I was like, I'm not going to fight with my girls. We need a distance away for the night. She went to the police station and tried to say that I was abusing the girls, that my girls were scared of me. And like I said again, I already know what I have.
Why would the mom do that? Was she trying to retaliate against you?
Yeah, it's because I told her to bring the girls home, and she's all like, no, they don't want to go back. And I'm like, you know what? You're not the boss. I let the girls spend the night, there. It's the next day, I want them back and bring them back home. And she's like, no, they don't want to go back. And I'm like, I got into her, and I was like, you know what? Again, you're not the mother. So if we call the cops on you, I want my girls back home. Well, when she came to my house with some detectives. And they were telling me that I shouldn't be yelling at my girls. That's abuse. And I just looked at them, and I'm not going to lie, I laughed at the detectives. I told them to get the hell out of my property and get out of here because I know what I have. I know what my daughters what they're capable of doing. And she goes, well, I'm calling CPS. And I go ahead. 4 days later, CPS comes to my house. I shut that interview down within 2 minutes. I told CPS, my girls are right there. I go, talk. You have anything to ask them? Ask them. And my girls are like, we don't want to talk to you. Like, we don't want to talk to you. I told the lady, get the hell out of my house. I go, you don't have no business here. I go, stop wasting my time, wasting your time. And within less than 2 minutes, the CPS worker was off, and they haven't bothered me again.
Yeah. Well, one thing you need to think about doing, and it's something that's closure, you need to have your record expunged. Because as long as that's on your record, people that do credit checks on if you're applying for a job will see it. And
Okay, so I can expunge it? Okay.
That's what I haven't done yet. You need to have your record expunged. Also, you need to know what's on your record. A lot of times, like in my case, they have something on that I never did. So a lot of times behind the scenes, they put things on that you don't see. So you need to get a hold of your criminal record. And then what you need to do is you need to expunge it. You need to have it erased. And I think the statute of limitation is 7 years. I'm not corrected on that, but you need to know. You just type in, Google it, the statute of limitation on your record with a CPS matter. And if they say it's 7 years, then if it's been, you got to have to wait a little bit. But it's very important.
Also,
yes.
I'm going to tell you what's very disturbing and sad is that we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I know I have mistakes. I've done mistakes. I have my flaws. But the one thing that I see very disturbing with CPS is that they try to utilize your past so much. They worry more about your past than about your present, of how bad of a person or parent you are. And they hold on to that to build a case. And it's really sad to see that. I mean, people do make mistakes and people they feel sorry about it and they actually grow from it. That's how we learn. But they don't see that. CPS thinks that people are not human, and once they think that you're a junkie, they think you're a drug addict the rest of your life, or they think that people can't stop. or they act like they're perfect and they don't do anything when they're actually probably doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I've known kids in my neighborhood that that some of them, like, I'm surprised that they haven't even CPS hasn't got involved with them, and it sucks. But there's kids out there that really do need it, and they're asking for help, and these people are being overlooked. And it's like you said, it's more about the money now. These caseworkers, and these caseworkers, I mean, they hide behind the law. That's what they do, is they hide behind the law, which is very sad. And these parents need to really get more on it and not be afraid of them. Know your rights. They should need to know their rights.
Yeah. Well, they abuse the law because no one questions them. Like one of my rules, I have rule number 3 is you don't allow them in your home. You don't answer the door. You see, when you answer the door, a lot of things have happened lately. People have been shot and killed innocently by answering the door. Social workers, when they come into the house, they start searching in your home. They think because you let them in, you give them an open all thing to go through your drawers and your belongings, looking for drugs or looking for anything that could make you a bad parent. So I tell people, don't open the door to nobody. You can have a special knock or a ring that your family members that need to get in can ring, but you don't want to open up to strangers. You also don't want to talk to CPS because everything you say will be twisted and turned against you. It's really, really bad. You'll say one thing and they'll imply another thing. So you don't want to talk to them. Go ahead.
It's funny that you say that because I got the report back and it was, but it's funny you say that because I know when they went to the school told them that they no abuse, no concern whatsoever of me with the kids. That I actually was one of those parents that they left all that out in the case. They only went based on the kids, whatever the kids said, and the kids were mad at me. But whatever good was said about me being as a parent to the kids, they left all that out and they twisted and turned everything just to make and build a case. Even at that, when they got custody, they took them 4 days to find the kids. Like, they didn't even look for them. Supposedly they were so much in danger, they didn't even look for them. But yeah, they leave everything out. The caseworkers liars, because like I said, I got the official report from them because my attorney handed it over, and I'm shocked to see what they say. Like, they leave out, they just leave the bad things in there, and these caseworkers lie. They lie through their teeth and make up stuff. They make you even sign documents that don't even have nothing on it, a blank document, and then they add stuff onto it.
Yeah, it's sad. Also, social workers will use warrants from other cases and white out and change the dates and do all kinds of things wrong on that warrant to use it to supposedly get you or get your child or to talk to you. You see, that's the sad part about warrants, is that CPS has no honor. They will lie. They will cheat. They will hurt. And it's sad. And as I always say, you need to be careful of them. You can't trust them. They'll try to build you up. They'll try to say, oh, you're doing so great. And next week we'll let your child go. Next week pass by. We're not letting your child go. And then all of a sudden they reduce your visits. They're really habit of trying to hurt parents because they reduce their visits. For instance, a parent's been seeing a child regularly an hour every day. Then they'll chop it and say an hour once a week. Why? And they won't say why because they're trying to intimidate you. They're trying to manipulate you.
True.
Now, Athena.
And you know what's be happy? They should hold these people accountable. I don't know why these caseworkers are not being held accountable for their actions, because it's not. It's sad. I mean, they're messing with people's lives, especially kids, and the trauma that these kids go through. My daughter, 2 days before we went to court, Mr. Pierce, put it this way, my daughter, the one that was saying all this ugly stuff and everything, she literally called me crying that she was about to commit suicide, like bad crying, that this is not what she wants, and this is not a joke anymore, and that I wasn't going to see her till she was 18. My daughter literally was like breaking down, and this was like a break, either full mode, like where I was going to do it or not, get them back.
Right, right.
This is traumatic. Like, this is not even a joke for the parent as well as for the child.
Right. Well, this is really a very hard agency to deal with because so many of them have gone rogue, so many of them are corrupt, and so many of them, lie. It's like I talked about a case of 8 social workers in Prescott, Arizona. Now, Prescott, Arizona is a quiet little town. It has Indian tribes in the area. Anyway, what happened was these 8 social workers decided to get pink T-shirts, and on the front of their pink T-shirts, they stenciled the words, "We are professional child kidnappers." And on the back, they put, "Parents, you know where your children are." And they paraded around at Costco, Kmart, Best Buys, Target, you know, J.C. Penney's, whatever, all the department stores. And parents were outraged in there. And so what they did is that they were fired along with the director of CPS. That was 9 people fired from that agency in Prescott, Arizona in 2022. And so you go look it up, and it's sad because there's no supervision of CPS. Yes, they have a director. Yes, they have managers, but they don't know how to supervise. Also, social workers, that come to work in the social service department in the working area of child protection services don't have a college degree, let alone a high school diploma. They should. They should have at least a degree in social work and a second degree, a minor, in clinical psychiatry. Then they should also have a master's. When they have a master's, then they come and they can get work. They need a 6-month training, and then they need to find a mentor that they can follow for another 6 months. So it's a year before they start handling families. My social worker was young, 20-something, didn't have a high school diploma, no license, no college degree, and all of a sudden she's authoritative of families. And that's sad news. That is so sad news because she hurt my children. She hurt us parents. It was a miserable experience that went on for 3 years when my children were abducted and stolen and trafficked into foster care. And so I'm telling you, they need to be supervisors. There need to be a board of directors or supervisors that watches the agency, that watches how the money is spent and the money is asked for. There should be a legitimate way of doing so. And this incentive law that was passed and signed into law by Bill Clinton needs to be rescinded. You should not give an agency money as a reward to have them adopted in foster care, because what's happened is hurting the reunification. And the reaction is, well, it takes too long with reunification. Well, if it does take too long, then so be it. That's all part of life. If you want them to do the drug class or the alcohol class or the domestic violence class, those are year-long programs. Parent programs are 3 to 6 months, parenting classes. So it's going to be at least a year. So that's not a negative. That's a stupid remark to say that family reunification is too slow and should not be used. So anyway, that's part of the problem because the government now is on top of the $20,000 a month on the child. They give another $10,000 for having the child adopted into foster care. And on top of that, if there's special need, the prices double. It's $40,000 a month for children to be taken care of, and a $20,000 bonus incentive for them to be adopted into foster care. That's a lot of money, and I think that's wrong. In a way, our government spending money is one of the things I hope they find. That's one of the things I hope that they find there. I need to go back and see what Athena was saying. She says, any parent who says they've never raised their voice at their kids is a bold-faced liar. Yeah, you're right. I mean, people get upset. There's the things called anger management. And what I find out, if you feel angry, you need to take a time out and take a walk. I have a beach I'm 3 blocks from. I walk to the beach. And in fact, with my wife, we can walk and go 2 different directions on the beach, then come back and meet and talk about it. Athena says, sounds like I need to make a trip to OCS for a copy of our 8 investigations, that all the reports I have, any, let's say, substantiated allegations with an overabundance in support evidence to support. Yes, I agree, Athena. You need to do your homework. Athena told me that every time verbally that they recommended I get domestic violence probation orders against my ex-husband, the judge repeatedly denied me. My former attorneys refused to file them. Well, you got to be in the right court. If you're dealing with domestic violence, it's criminal court, and so that's what it is. You're dealing with neglect and abuse. That is dependency court. So you got to make sure you're in the right venue. Okay, Athena says, good. That's unacceptable. Yeah. Okay, understood. So we have Sarah on the line from Texas sharing her good news about her kids getting back. And then we have Athena in the room talking about from Alaska, talking about her ex-husband and doing crazy things. And she has not only divorce to deal with, she has also been charged with negligence and abuse with her about her children. And then we have Betty Jo, who got her niece back. She's been sharing the story. Betty Jo's from Montana, and her niece is from Nebraska, and it's her brother's child. And so she just got it back yesterday. She drove there, or was the day before yesterday? It seems like it was Tuesday, I think it was. So that was Betty Jo from Montana. She's a foster care mother, by the way, a really good foster care mother. So we have about 5 more minutes left of the show here. What else would you like to say, Sarah? And I'm so glad you called in.
I just want to say that for the parents or for the families that are going through right now with CPS, not to give up, not to be intimidated. There's places to call in, like your show. There's help out there. Don't be afraid of asking. We all make mistakes, but we're not bad parents, and we should not be intimidated by CPS. CPS is not there for the right reasons. They don't really care. Because if they did, they would do this, handle things differently. I'm thankful that I was able to reach out to you and your guidance and calling you helped me get my kids back and motivated me. So parents, don't give up. Fight for your kids. I mean, these are our kids that we are letting these governments take them away and do with them whatever they please, and we shouldn't allow that. I mean, we shouldn't. And again, know your rights. Study. Ask for your records. Request your records because you have the right to get that. Record every interview. If they come to your house, record them because they don't like it. You have the right to record them. Just make sure you stand up. It's a life and death situation. These are our children that we need to fight for. If we don't fight for them, who is? Nobody else will.
You're right.
And thank you again for your support and everything and your kind words that motivated me to move and look for what I needed to look for to get my kids back.
Right. Well, I'm glad I'm able to help. It's so nice when people do come back to my room, my podcast, and share their experience and so forth. I know many of you have lost your children for good, and I'm really sorry that does happen. But I know if you keep fighting and you analyze and you study your case and you research it on the internet is a powerful tool. It has a lot of information at your hands. It's just that you got to phrase it right. So when you're looking for something on CPS, start off with your city, followed by your state. Now, if your city is a small state, like say Athens, Georgia, you can put Athens, Atlanta, Georgia. Then use the letters CPS. Right after that, you'll see lots of things that pop up. But if you want to be specific as how to file a 388 motion, how to do a 160 hearing, what are the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act for Indians, the Indian Child Welfare Act in 1978. That's on the internet. There's so much information. You can learn about the judge, about that particular dependency court, if it's a bad court or a good court. You can learn about social workers if they've ever had any complaints against them, or about the agency. So the internet is a powerful tool. And I wish I had used it in my case too, because it was really, 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 really hard with that, with my case, because I lost a daughter because of not hiring an attorney right away. And I had a very corrupt social worker that committed perjury when she was under oath, and she lied, and she was caught in her lies, and she retaliated. They do retaliate. It's so bad that these social workers who have little job there, it's a thankless job in the first place to deal with it, because you do have bad parents. But the social workers, why they would overstep their bounds and get more money and hurt other families, I have no idea what pleasure they get. I know it's about money, but if I had to get money and it's that way, I would never want the money. I want to work hard and earn the money the right way, based on my efforts of how hard I work, So I want to thank you again, Sarah, for calling in and sharing me the good news and so forth. I want to thank, and by the way, for people listening, Sarah's from Texas. We have Athena from Alaska, and we have Betty Jo from Montana. I want to thank all you that come into my show regularly. And remember, they keep fighting for your child. And it's really important that you do so. And do not give up. God bless you all. And by the way, Sarah, do you want to talk to Vincent Davis?
Yes.
Okay. All you need to do is text in to that number, 626-698-6990. And you can text in the message, and you can be put on a show, be put on a private podcast with Mr. Davis for 15 minutes, and you can tell him how well I did, how well I helped you. And that would be really great.
Absolutely, I will.
Yeah, so anyway, I have to sign off now. I'll see you all tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.